Hello, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I come on to remind you that we have 2 days left until Election Day. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. And I come to encourage you, to urge you, to make sure that you go out and cast your ballot on Tuesday if you have not already early voted. And I hope that you have. But if you have not, you have 2 more days to prepare yourself. Make sure you have a voting plan. Voting plan means you know exactly where you're going to vote at. You know that your registration is active. You've verified and checked your voter registration, and you know that it is active. So when you show up to the polls on Tuesday, on Election Day, that you won't run into any issues because you have already verified and you know exactly where you're going. You know how you're going to get there, if you're going to take your own transportation or if you're going to carpool with somebody else, if you're going to call an Uber or a Lyft. However you're going to get there, you just want to make sure that you have a voting plan. And a voting plan means you know exactly how, when, and where you are going to cast your ballot on Tuesday, okay? So do not sit out this election. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I just want you to get out and vote. And also, I wanted to touch on, our candidates for the presidential election. And the candidates for presidential election are not the only candidates that's on the ballot. I want to encourage you to vote down ballot. Vote for your local elections, those candidates that's on the ballot for your local elections, whatever that may be, whether it be mayoral or school board, judgeships, state representatives, Congress, Senate, U.S. Senate, whatever it may be, constitutional amendments, whatever is on your ballot, make sure you start at the top and you vote all the way down. Don't just vote for president and then walk away. Make sure you're voting down the ballot, okay? So that is first and foremost. I want to make sure you have a voting plan and make sure that you are voting down the ballot. And also, for those of you that may still be undecided, not only on presidential candidates, but on a local level, if you're still undecided, I pray right now for you to have a spirit of discernment. May God give you wisdom so that you can vote the best way possible for you. Again, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I just want you to vote, because we can't say that we want to see change, that we want to see progress in our communities, and we are not being part of the electoral process. It's a must that we be part of this process. And if you have not been a part of this process in the past, that's okay. We're not throwing stones at anyone, but it's time you get involved. It's time you get engaged, because your participation means a lot. Your participation matters. Your voice matters. And when we vote, we are exercising the power that we have with our vote, okay? So we cannot sit this election out. For those of you that are 1 or 2 issue voters, we have to decide, regardless of that one issue or those 2 issues that you just don't agree with the candidates on. You're never going to get a candidate that's going to support everything that you support, that is for everything that you are for. So we have to understand that. And that's not only in this election, that has been the case in elections in the past, and it's going to be the case in elections in the future, because none of us are perfect, and we're not going to get a candidate that supports everything that you believe. Those of you that are people of faith, that are Christians, as myself, I know for myself, sometimes it can be difficult selecting a candidate, because you're not going to get a candidate that supports everything you support as a woman of faith, or as a man of faith, as a believer, as a Christian. So those of you that are those 1 issue, 2 issue voters, and you say, I'm not going to even participate because this candidate does not support this and it goes against everything God stands for, I get it. But we cannot afford to not vote, because government was God's idea. So we can't say that we're not political. We can't say that we're not going to participate, because things are just crazy. Yes, it's crazy. And it's probably going to get even crazier. But for those of us that are people of faith, we can't be afraid to do what it is that we need to do. We have to be the example. We have to lead by example. We are the ones that need to be praying for godly political leaders. We are the ones that need to be make sure that we are helping to raise up people of faith, people that has wisdom, people that has spiritual discernment, because we can't just sit back and just let the government do what they want to do, because we have kingdom of authority. Okay, so we have the power and the authority to put those in office that's gonna, not perfection, they're not going to be perfect, but we have the authority to put those in office that has some sense of morals, that has some sense of values, that has some sense of character. Again, we're not going to ever get perfection. We're not going to ever get a candidate that's going to agree with everything that we agree on, that support everything we support. That's just not going to happen. So I'm speaking to those voters who, you're kind of skeptical about voting. You don't know if you're going to participate because of that one issue or those two issues that these particular candidates are for or against, whatever it may be. We are never going to get a candidate that's going to align with everything that we represent. And if truth be told, for those of you that say, oh, well, I can't support this particular candidate because of their stance on abortion or their stance on the LGBTQ plus community or their stance on gun control or gun regulation, whatever the case may be, whatever those major issues we have on immigration, whatever the issue is that we have that's at the forefront right now, you can't say that you're just gonna be silent and not participate, because we need your voice. So if there's a candidate that does not align with your values or align with the kingdom of God, and we have a lot of that, if truth be told, neither one of our candidates, whether it's the presidential candidate, for the candidates for your local races or a Senate or Congress, whoever it may be, none of them totally lines up with God's values and principles. But again, none of us are perfect. We just have to make sure that we have the wisdom of God. We have to make sure that we have spiritual discernment and that we are led and guided by the Spirit and not by what other people say, not by what other people do. We have to make sure that we are making sure that we are doing our research for ourselves and that we are doing everything in our power to make sure that God's agenda is first and foremost in the earth. And that's in government, that's in whatever sphere of influence you're in, whether it's in business, whether it's in media, whether it's in education, wherever it is, you have to make sure that God's kingdom is at the forefront. So we can't control other people. We can't control the candidates that's on our ballot. We just can't do that. We don't have the power to do that. But what we do have control of is to make sure that we are advancing God's kingdom in the earth. Okay, so make sure that you are doing that. And then when you do that, when you lead by example, then you are helping others to do that. You are giving others permission to say, okay, I can make sure that I am doing everything that I can do to advance God's kingdom in the earth, because that's what it's all about. But if you're sitting out this election because you say, oh, this candidate don't align with God's values, this candidate don't align with what I stand for, I'm pretty sure that you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, and all of us have some flaws. All of us in some way or another are not aligning with God's kingdom and God's principles. So we can't not participate because there's so much at stake, there's so much on the line. And when you sit out, when you don't vote, when you don't exercise the power that you have, then you are making it really, really difficult for generations to come. So if you want to make sure that you are helping to shape the future for those that's coming after us, our children, our grandchildren, our great-great-grandchildren, our great-niece, great-nephews, our cousins, all of that, we have to make sure that we are doing what we can right now in this season, okay? So, again, I didn't intend on going this long, but I just want to encourage you to make sure you get out and vote on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. 2024 if you have not already early voted. Okay, and if you're voting in Louisiana, you can download the Go Vote app. Everything you need is on that app to give you information about election day, whether it be what's on the ballot, whether it be your polling location, the times the location opens and close, anything you need to know about election day, you can get that on the Go Vote app. It's GEAUXVOTE. Go Vote is an app that Louisiana voters use. Very good app. So yeah, I just wanted to encourage you to make sure you get out and vote. And pray for your candidates. Pray for those that's on the ballot. Pray for those that are already in public office, because we need to make sure that we are a part, especially of those of us who are people of faith. We need to make sure that we are raising up godly leaders that have wisdom, that have spiritual discernment, that's going to be guided in their decisions by God, that's going to be guided in their actions by God, that's going to be guided in their thoughts, everything that they do. And again, none of us are perfect, so we can't be looking for the perfect candidate. We can't be looking for the perfect political leaders. We can't be looking for the perfect community leaders. We can't be looking for the perfect spiritual leaders, our pastors, our teachers and ministers. We can't be looking for them to be perfect, because none of us are perfect, but we are striving to do the best that we can to make sure that God's agenda rules in the earth. Okay, so y'all take care. Y'all be blessed until next time. I love y'all. And make sure you go and vote. This is so important. And if you don't understand the voting process, if you may be one of those young voters that do not know how to go to the polls, ask questions. Ask someone that you think that can help you. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We have not because we ask not. So don't be afraid to ask an elder, someone around you, a family member, a friend, someone that can help you, can assist you at the polls, can go to the polls with you. Do not be quiet. Do not sit out. And if you are someone that has a history of voting, you are very well knowledgeable of voting, make sure you help someone that may not know the process. Make sure you help a first-time voter that may not be as knowledgeable as you are in this electoral process, because we can't afford for people to not cast their ballot on Tuesday when it was something that they could have done to make sure they made it to the polls. Okay, so I love y'all. Y'all take care. This is Cynthia Young, and I just want to make sure everybody has what they need. They have a voting plan and they get out on election day. Okay, so y'all take care. God bless.